You see, my worry for Orlando Pirates over the years is that Orlando Pirates is an incredible team, the most dangerous team in the league. The problem is consistency. And the problem is not going to come from a lot of teams outplaying them. It's going to be Pirates walking into a game versus a team that they don't rate, in a fixture maybe that they don't care for or they don't take as seriously, and they get hurt. And they do that enough times that then when they wake up later on in the season, Mamelodi Sundowns is gone. And what I was happy with Pirates starting this season off the way they did, I believe they've played the most games of any South African team, and they were unbeaten up to this point. In my head, I was thinking maybe they've turned the leaf and maybe they've found that consistency that they'd been lacking. Sorry to interrupt this video, but I need a little bit of your help. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can probably see my subscribe account. And if you can, I'd be very grateful if you would subscribe. That is actually the best way to support this channel, because the bigger that number is, the better it looks to potential guests and other brands and companies that I will approach for sponsorship. It may seem like a very small thing to ask for, but it actually helps with all of this. Thank you very much. Let's get back to the video. But the same Pirates kind of showed up for this game that we fear, that used to show up last season. Versus Magesi, newcomers to the league, in a first round Carling Black Label Cup game that maybe they would have thought they would have skipped. A game that they came in and they made a bunch of changes. Too, that hurt them. I don't think Magesi brought anything special to the game. I think they just realized that Pirates was a little bit too arrogant in their defense. So one of the big things that we speak about with Pirates all the time is Van Rooyen and Hotto always leave. And if Nda's not there, defending with two players, even when he is there actually, defending with two players is not something that Pirates should do. Especially in a game where you've decided to have no defensive midfielders. No defensive midfielders. So now, every time Magesi finally got the ball out and they played it up, it was 2v3 at times. There were times where the lack of communication of the Pirates defense meant that they were all moving towards the ball and there was space on the other side. If you look at the goal that was scored by Abrams, I believe it was, that ball could have been played earlier and they could have gotten something from it. So the transition was catching Pirates out all the time. I think Pirates struggled in this game because they don't have their grown-ups on the pitch. And I don't mean this to disrespect anybody, but I think Sesane works better with Nda because Nda takes control of the defense. He leads them, he shows them where to go, and he's the lead communicator. He's the guy that holds the ball, that play makes, that gets the ball, that plays it out, that makes those decisions. When you look at him not being there, but then you also add the fact that there's no one in midfield that has that ability. And then you look up front and Utito Ageko. Mfukeng Saleng, I believe, can't play without Tito. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. Tito is the most important player to his team. So if we look at players who are important to their teams across the league, Tito and Tito's importance to Pirates is bigger than every one of those other teams. Utito holds the Pirates like this. He controls the tempo, he controls the attitude, he controls everything. When Pirates is losing their heads and the game is getting messy, he'll get the ball al-Gibele and slow down the game so that they can regroup. When the game is slow and they need to go into the next gear, Tito is the one. There's no surprise why Tito came in and there were 2 goals scored. And they could have gotten the last one. He is the man. He holds Pirates. How Pirates is going to perform. And that's why we didn't see Rile play and we didn't see Saleng really in that first half. But this game does highlight something else that Pirates should be worried about. There's going to be a lot of games this season. A lot of games. And you're going to need to be able to trust your bench and know that when they come in, they can play. Today, Kim Viudi was brought in. Today, Sbisi was brought in from the bench. Today, if I can just check, today we saw a midfield of Rasibucha and Dlamini. And I think what Pirates should be scared of is the fact that those guys do not look ready at all. And if well and truly you are chasing the league, there's going to come a time in the season where you're going to be sitting with a Champions League game that you've played, and maybe your first team has gone out there, they've traveled, they come back and you have to play a league game, and somebody needs to be subbed and changed and rested. It's kind of shocking that you have players like Abomayela, you have Abondlondlo, you have Abomunyane on the bench, instead of them starting these games so that they can be the grown-ups for Pirates when needed. I think this game, Pirates Inyatse Magesi, I think Pirates took this game for granted. Whether it's planned or whether it's just something that they did, I don't know. But Pirates can't afford to have these type of games. It also brings about a thought that I have. That Pirates did so well at the beginning of the season and up to this point because they were playing games of consequence that followed each other. So they didn't have time to rest and they didn't have time to be off. They had to go from Champions League to MTN8 to league games, back to back to back to back to back. And I think that was the key to their consistency because they didn't get a break to stop and turn off. This international break is going to be, well, this international break was something that could have broken Pirates' consistency and the momentum that they had up to this point. Them being knocked out of the Carling Knockout Cup also means that for once, Pirates couldn't get up for a trophy. And I know it's a trophy they haven't gotten up for. Even last year, they got beaten by Richards Bay. But the next few weeks is going to be crucial. It's going to be very crucial if we're going to ask the question whether Pirates will be able to win the league. And that is what everybody's telling me. But these games versus Magesi, in a half-full Orlando Stadium, in a game that maybe you're taking for granted, are the ones that separate the champions from the contenders. Those are the games. The ones where it's Tuesday versus Cheaper, Tuesday versus, Royal AM. This game wasn't won by Magesi because Magesi played better than Pirates. It was won because Pirates could not communicate, did not play, and that defense, I keep saying, if you attack Pirates' defense, you can make them do things. Gave away penalty. They were all over the place in terms of positioning. I don't know what this does to the confidence of the guys on the bench, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise for Pirates because they've got one less trophy to worry about. And maybe that can help them rest a little bit more and make sure that they're fresh for certain games. But I don't worry about the games where you've been outplayed, where the other team just came out and you just couldn't touch them. They were just too much for you. I worry about the games where you switch off or you don't show up. And I worry about Pirates because they have a habit of doing this a lot. And when you look back on the season, it's these games that make the difference. So hopefully Jose can fix it. Hopefully they can get back onto the horse. Hopefully this is a wake-up call for the guys who are on the bench at Pirates, who are guys who are on the fringes, that you are going to be called upon at some point and rotated in, and you need to work. You're not at the level. There's a clear difference between the first team and the second team. If I can just touch on Magesi, I think Magesi almost committed the number one sin. I always speak about it. You can be defensive, you can even defend, but you have to be dangerous. In the first half, they caught off Pirates because they were defending fine, but they were breaking on Pirates and scoring those goals. In the second half, they decided to put everybody behind the ball. And the problem with putting everybody behind the ball is that you get hit and hit and hit and hit. I don't know how many saves Chipazeze had to make. I don't know how many times Pirates came close in that. And like Pirates almost took a 3-0 scoreline and made it a 4-3 or at least a 3-3. So I think Magesi needs to learn that, yeah, you might be the smaller team, but you have to have threat. If you don't have a threat, that means that the other team can just keep throwing things at you. If you allow two players to go up and maybe trouble Pirates when you release, when you get the ball and you clear it, even just from a pressure standpoint, your defense can get to rest a little. You can send those guys up to go and fight the defenders, press a little bit, see if they can't delay them. But also what it does is the other coach has to think now. They have to go, if I send forward X amount of players, they're going to catch me. Stellenbosch does this very well. So Magesi is probably going to find themselves in this situation a lot in the league, and hopefully they don't panic when they get there, similar to how they panicked versus Pirates. Pirates is a last-minute scoring team, and that bus that they brought out in Magesi was a CIA or a Patco bus. It wasn't something that was solid. And teams in the PSL need to learn that parking the bus is not just about throwing as many players back. You need to be structured in that parking. You need to be structured in that defense. You can't just put players back and expect nothing to happen. And that's what almost happened to them here, where Pirates could have come back. But anyway, guys, great game by Magesi. Well done to them for making it through. Hopefully they take lessons from this and they can go forward. You've beaten the Cup Kings. I think from here, you can do a lot. I'm not expecting too much from Magesi, but well done. Clinton Lawson won this tournament with Bloemfontein and Celtic in 2012. Maybe you can do it with Magesi in 2024. Guys, it's been incredible. I'll see you guys.